Thank you very much for having me here. Obviously, I'm really excited to come and share the story of HarperCollins with all you guys. So, the future of any company is in constant flux, with changing markets, employees, and new developments. However, your history remains fixed, and this means you can learn and build from it. The benefits of having a strong archive are plentiful. With my paper, I would like to discuss the idea of in terms of the HarperCollins archive and demonstrate the benefits through our experiences over the past 6 years. My role at HarperCollins started 6 years ago in 2012. And for them last 6 years, I have worked... Sorry, my notes disappeared. I've worked to ensure that the archives play an integral part within the company. When I started, the archive was essentially without any consistent stewardship for many years. This meant that it was vital to reinstate the archive and moreover build confidence in the archive as a trusted repository, which held our past and also would hold our future history in an accessible manner. Our business is 200 years old, as Harper & Brothers started in New York in 1817. 2 years later, William Collins began his printing and publishing business in Glasgow. The businesses became one company in 1990, and our combined history is one to behold. However, for the purposes of this talk, I will mainly be discussing the Collins business. Our archive holds a spectacular collection of material, which has allowed me a greater understanding of our history. By learning about the collection, it gave me more confidence that our archive could and should be a key part of our business. Spending time in the archive immediately showed me how much we had to offer. From our original artwork, author correspondence, and the books, plus the business records, contracts, and legal documents. The question of how to convince the business of the use of what I had discovered was the next task in hand. From experience, the best way forward is to find the people who will champion your archive and then work within their departments with them. If you share your passion and enthusiasm with them, then that enthusiasm is infectious. My role reports into one of the members of the board of executives, and this gave me direct access to speak to the people who could effect change, essentially. Speaking with them meant that I could show them the tangible benefits of having the archive and how that could align with the key needs of the business. And that is another key strategy. The archive must support the business needs and the interests of which to be of use. Within HarperCollins, we have 7 values which guide what we do as a company, one of which is working together. This means from a simple level with daily tasks, but also in a deeper level with departments working with each other and learning from each other. The archive fits ideally into this. Working within departments is also another great opportunity to find more champions. Creating links with the people who are creating your content is so important. Finding these connections and building on them will encourage others to do the same. The simple way for this to work is talk to your colleagues. In my first few months, I spent a lot of time getting to know the various departments and the people in them. Taking on board their needs allowed a better relationship to form. It's also important to talk to people out of your business as well. External outreach gives you a chance to learn from others. I attended conferences, I wrote papers, and I contributed to projects which I knew had a connection to our business. I fed this back to the company, and these stories really piqued people's interest in the archive and made them think about what they could seriously do with our content. So, a perfect opportunity for us to showcase our archive and display its importance within the business was the preparation for and the celebration of our global bicentenary last year in 2017. This meant bringing together all the departments but moreover the different parts of our business across the world to show off each of their histories and what we had achieved as a business in the past 200 years. A website seemed like a very good basis and a starting point for all of our other plans, so its creation was a major task. It needed to be innovative, and as it wouldn't have much effect or impact if it was just some facts and figures on a page. Therefore, we had 5 main areas which were all interconnected and gave our customers a chance to interact with our timeline. There was a scrolling page with short facts and corresponding images, and then also links to connected stories. These stories then gave greater detail on events in our history. The HarperCollins 200 were our 200 iconic books from the past 200 years, chosen by booksellers and librarians. The Why I Read campaign gave our authors a chance to participate and explain what made them read and what made them write and be inspired. Finally, we have Inside the Archives, which gives a deeper insight into the business, sharing documents, original artwork, and photographs. The US very much took the lead on this creation, and while we provided the contents and our thoughts on what worked. We also knew we needed something smaller and catchier to grab the attentions of readers who didn't necessarily know about the website. A short video allowed us to create something shareable and short. The video went through many iterations, styles, and directions, but really the main point had to be about the books, and this is what we came up with. So hopefully you recognise a couple of the books in the video. So both the work in the video and the material in the website gave us so much to work with in terms of engaging our customers. Twitter and Facebook were our main focus in capturing our audience with the use of some Instagram. On Twitter, we have 101,000 followers and nearly 34,000 people follow us on Facebook. So 34,000 people follow us on Facebook in the UK. However, our US sites have even greater numbers, with Twitter at 967,000 and Facebook 136,151. That was at the time in 2017, I should say. This meant our reach was worldwide, using the hashtag HC200 and then the hashtag that I used for my archive, hashtag HCArchive. We could curate a large collection of posts and information. We could post content from the website, as well as encouraging people to come to the website on both platforms. If a new book was coming out and it had historical ties, or the author had content on the website, then it all worked together. With being now able to create live feeds on Facebook, it also meant that we could constantly be creating new content and new media for our customers to engage with on the spot, while always harking back to the other things that we had created. Engagement with our employees, obviously, in the offices across the world was also an important factor. We wanted the staff to understand how important their history was and for them to have a sense of pride for working with the company and what it had achieved and what they had achieved over the last 200 years. This is something, again, that the US took a lead on. They sent out monthly emails on different aspects of our history, and it just kept the momentum going throughout the year of the 200th. In addition to social media, we also did more traditional forms of media. I was interviewed by one of Scotland's biggest newspapers, the Saturday Herald, which resulted in a 2-page spread, which was great. I went on BBC Radio 4's programme The Open Book to speak with Mariella Fostrop about our history, and then I wrote a small piece for the British publishing trade magazine, The Bookseller. However, all these more traditional forms could then be backed up by our social media presence and making sure that people were aware of the different channels we were promoting the archive and the 200 through. As I said, working with departments is key. Through developing good relationship with key publishers and marketing people, the archive has been able to support the creation of new content and moreover reinvigorate old titles which were sitting waiting to be republished. So, a particularly excellent example of this is a little book called 101 Scottish Songs. First published in the 60s, the book holds a special place in the hearts of traditional Scottish music fans. It was affectionately known as the Wee Red Book. An inquiry about the book came to me from the Traditional Music and Song Association in Scotland, and they wanted to republish the title to celebrate their 50th anniversary. I went to the relevant publisher with the idea, and from there it became a project. I looked out other versions of the book and files and ephemera all linked to the book. We contacted the author's son, who gave permission to republish. The book was then launched in January 2016 at Glasgow's Celtic Connections Festival. And the event was a sold-out success, and it was, in fact, then so successful that we've had one every year since. The book was recreated as it looked like in the 60s, and fans were so pleased to see it back in print. It also has led us to republish other little books like the songs of Robert Burns and the Scottish Clans and Tartans. Within the Collins Geo division, so the cartography division of our company, the archive also has supported the new edition of the Times Comprehensive Atlas of the World, which is a flagship title for the department. The designer and cartographer spent some time with me in the archive looking at old maps and atlases to see the types of designs that were popular in the 1800s. This gave them inspiration to create new ways to convey facts to the reader. And although it was obviously being based on these original drawings, for example, this here is how river lengths and mountain heights were conveyed in the most beautiful design in one of our older atlases. By using this archive material, the designer was able to think of the graphics within a different frame of mind and moreover give more weight to the final project. Being involved in this project, like any other ones, gives me confidence that the archive can provide tangible benefits to the business. Another way that the archive has been involved in publishing is through supporting anniversaries and tie-ins, publishing along with that. For example, this year we celebrate 60 years of Paddington Bear. Throughout the year, there's been different events that have taken place to commemorate this key children's figure, Paddington, but also his creator, Michael Bond. Within the archive, we have a treasure trove of Paddington material, including an original review of Paddington by Michael's future editor, artwork by the original illustrator Peggy Fortnum, and then other Paddington illustrators. We have photographs, related ephemera, and a favourite of mine being a letter written by Paddington to Australian booksellers, particularly like his paw print at the bottom. The archive was able to provide information like the original publishing date, the number of books produced, the original price. Due to the varied collection of material we had, we were also able to loan out some of our own items, plus then create facsimile documents for exhibitions that have been running throughout the year. One of them is in the Bunkamuru. Oh, I knew I'd say this wrong, sorry guys. Bunkamuru Museum of Art in Tokyo, and another at the Edith Carroll Museum in Amherst, Massachusetts. Paddington's final adventure was published in June this year, and it was Paddington at St. Paul's, to celebrate 60 years of Paddington, but also to remember Michael Bond, who had died the year previously. Taking part in projects like this only serve to improve the archive and our collections for the future as we create the new history and capture it. So throughout my time at HarperCollins, I have been sure of the value the archive can give to the business, and it's been incredibly rewarding to be involved in so many projects and see the archive go from strength to strength. The heritage of our business underpins everything that we do. Our CEO likes to say that when new authors join us, he wants them to think they are standing on the shoulders of giants, which is so true in relation to our company. We've been Agatha Christie's publisher for 92 years, Dr. Seuss for 60, and countless other authors have created stories for us. Our history strengthens our business by giving access and understanding to the legacy of our authors and of our relationships with them. Readers can feel assured of the high quality of the books that we deliver based on a long tradition of doing so. By ensuring the longevity of our past, then we are paving the way for our future history and capturing it as it's created. Breaking down the assumptions about archives and history is necessary when advocating for the use of heritage within a business. Assumptions mostly be that history will be boring or not helpful and will only be business records. However, the ability to validate your business and share stories which underpin it give an authority that very few other things can. Business records give a deeper insight into not only your business, but also social history, important global events, and importantly, the stories of the people who got you there. Within our archives, stories are at the centre of what we do, and the archive supports this. And that's me. Thanks very much.
A question for Dawn? Yes.
Except for printed books, do you work with e-books and voice books also?
Yeah, we encompass everything. So we keep two copies of every physical book that we do. We also have a digital asset management system that captures all of our e-books or any digitally born digital documents that are created in the creation of a book. And audio has become a huge part of our business. In the past year or two, our audio team are growing and growing because it's just become such a phenomenon. And also e-books are also going down, but physical publishing is going back up again, which is good.
Do you also keep the gadgets, I mean, tape cassettes to play the books that were in tape cassettes?
Do I keep what, sorry?
Gadgets for, I mean, tape cassette players and so on.
I do have run throughout the archive, a bit like Christine's archive. I just acquired things a little bit over the, so I have like different things. I have a Mac computer that is in 3 giant leather cases that has a box just for its RAM. I also have like CD players, tape cassette players, that sort of thing. But that's purely because they've just come to the archive, and then I'm really pleased that they have. So, any other questions? But also fine if you want to talk afterwards.
I have one question actually, because this is the 200-year-old story of 2 companies in a way that only some 30 or 25 years ago came together. So how do you work? There's your archive in Glasgow.
Yeah.
But then there's one in the US as well?
Yeah, there is. So the Harper part of the business, so obviously Harper and Brothers, as I said, is New York. We were Glasgow. I look after the Collins part of the archive, and Harper very much sits within New York, part of the collection is at Columbia University, and then they also have an archivist. So we're very much an archivist in-house in Harper, I should say. We are an international business, but there's only the two of us across the two. So I'm the UK archivist, she's the US archivist, and then we deal with everything else in between and hope we capture our history.
Doing a wonderful job.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you so much again, Dawn, for coming.
Thank you.